What's up, guys? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and everything in between. And as usual, we'll be checking out some more Reddit posts. So be sure to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. I told the doctor my mom was lying about my symptoms. For a bit of context, OP posted this in r/AskDocs, where she's trying to get advice from medical professionals about a bit of a disturbing situation she's in. Here's what she said. I'm a 15-year-old girl. I'm 5 foot and 82 pounds. I take Keppra, hydroxychloroquine, and Adderall. I live in the US. This has been going on for 5 years. I'm diagnosed with epilepsy, undifferentiated connective tissue disorder, and ADHD. My mom thinks I have POTS, EDS, and some other things. Basically, I had a seizure once when I was about 10 on a school field trip. My mom had always been really intense anytime I got sick. She took me to the doctor for every single cold. But this seizure sent her overboard, and since then she's basically been convinced that I have some kind of serious diseases. At first, I believed her. She was good at convincing me I was feeling things or that stuff happened that I didn't remember, because I, quote, was having a seizure. But the only one I know I had for sure was the one in 5th grade, and when I was at the hospital after, they didn't find an obvious cause. Since then, my mom takes me to all these appointments claiming I have symptoms I don't, or making them sound way worse than they are. For example, she'll claim I'm having fevers and that the only reason I don't have one in clinic is because I took Tylenol. It'll be true that I took Tylenol, but not because I had a fever. She just gives it to me. She'll also have me take cold medicine before cardiology appointments. Like she says, here, you're sniffly, take this. But now I'm reading that cold medicine makes your heart rate go up, and half the time I don't even feel sniffly. It's like she'll plant things, too. She'll start saying, you seem lightheaded, your joints look swollen, you'll look out of focus. Like she's trying to convince me. And it used to work, but now I'm sitting here like I feel fine, and I'm sick of all these appointments. I want to do stuff with my friends and stop taking meds that make me feel bitchy and sad and sick to my stomach. She'll take pictures at angles that make things look worse than they are. One time I got a ton of bruises after playing on a water slide inflatable thing and taking a bunch of ibuprofen for, quote, joint pain. But I got a ton of bruises from it and she told the doctor they showed up with no cause. And I got a full leukemia workup and she was telling everyone how I probably had leukemia. I didn't. I knew what it was from, but she convinced me that playing on inflatables would never cause that kind of bruising unless I was really sick, so I didn't say anything. The problem is, now it's been years, and I'm afraid if I say something, we're going to get in trouble. And then no doctor will ever believe me if I do get sick someday. I don't know why I didn't say something sooner. I've been pretty sure for like 2 years that she's making most of this up, but it's confusing, and I don't know, I thought maybe she was right and I was just brushing off things. Sometimes it would feel like she was right. What do I do? Can I tell the doctors I see that it's probably not real, or is this going to ruin my medical care forever? Also, I really did have a seizure when I was 10. I was at school and there was a whole cafeteria of witnesses, so that wasn't made up. I don't even know what's real at this point though. I had a high ANA, 1 to 160, but I don't think a lot of the other symptoms that got the connective tissue disease diagnosis were real. I'm not trying to say it's not my fault too. I should have said something sooner, but I feel stuck. Please help me figure this out. I see a cardiologist Thursday and I want this to be over. Also, I know my BMI is low. I don't eat a lot. I'm working on it. Update. I posted here once before because I knew my mom was lying about me being sicker than I was and I wasn't sure how to handle it. I took everyone's advice and I ended up telling them at the next appointment. After we checked in, I said I had to go to the bathroom and I left a note with the nurse. I think my doctor maybe looked at it before the appointment actually because it took a really long time for us to go back. And then in the appointment, the doctor was asking me a lot more probing questions and clarifying questions, and pointing out inconsistencies, my mom said. And then he asked to talk to me by myself and my mom by herself too, actually. So I'm seeing a team of doctors now who wanted to verify some of the diagnosis that I had, and they admitted me to do that. Like in the hospital, and there was always a nurse or someone in my room with me. I'm not 100% sure because no one actually told me this is why, but I'm guessing it was to make sure my mom didn't say or do anything or give me anything. Is that something they'd actually do? It sounds so dramatic. Or maybe it's normal to check things out in the hospital like that. I don't know. Anyway, they're changing some of my diagnoses now, and my mom is talking with the counselor. She still maintains that she's not doing anything to me, and I'm really sick and just getting influenced by crime documentaries, adding she caught me listening to the podcast for context. But things are a little better. She's not supposed to be in charge of any of my meds now. I do that myself. And I write down everything I take and when in a journal so there's a record. And I'm not taking the hydroxychloroquine anymore. Thank you guys for telling me to say something. I was really afraid I was going to get in trouble, but no one was mad. Not even at my mom, actually. They were nice about it. Maybe a little stern, but nice. Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, OP posted this in r/askdocs, and it was cross-posted into r/bestofredditor updates, which is where I found it. And the person that cross-posted it there gave this little tidbit of information. They said, definition from Cleveland Clinic. Factitious disorder imposed on another, formerly called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, is a mental health condition where you pretend that someone within your care is sick when they aren't. It's a type of abuse. And that would definitely seem to fit the bill with what's going on here. And I gotta say, this whole thing sounds absolutely terrifying. This mother is actually sabotaging her own daughter's health, intentionally getting her falsely diagnosed and getting her on medications she doesn't need. It's great that OP was able to speak up and advocate for herself, and it also sounds like the doctors and medical professionals handled it pretty well too. They seem to have kept it pretty professional and re-diagnosed OP as needed. And OP did also mention that her mom was talking to a counselor after this. I would guess that this was at the insistence of the doctors when they recognized what was going on. So hopefully she's getting some help too with the, what do they call it, factitious disorder imposed on another. Because that sounds like an absolute disaster for OP if this was allowed to go on. Pretty scary, honestly. A friend of mine broke into my house, put her stuff at random places to make it look like she's been a tenant. Cops arrive, find her stuff all over the place, so of course they won't remove her. I have a friend who called me last night asking for a place to stay. She's 25, I'm 19, and I should mention she's a narcissistic bitch. Today I was over at my cousin's place this morning, and when I came home a couple of hours ago, I found her inside my house. No signs of a break-in from the outside. I ask her how she got in, and she tells me through the back window. I tell her I never gave her permission to come here and that she needs to leave immediately, and she says, deal with it. I call the cops and tell them that there's a person who got inside my house without my permission, and that I need an officer to come and remove her. A couple of minutes later, they arrive, and here's what happens. She tells them, I know my rights, officers. I've been a legal tenant in this house for 2 months now, and you can't just remove me. I can go around and show you my clothes in the wardrobe, my toothbrush and my conditioner in the bathroom, and all of my other stuff. They take a walk with her, and all of her effing stuff is all over my house. She effing broke into my house and put her stuff all over so that the cops would think she's been a tenant. The next thing they tell me is that I have to serve her with an eviction notice, and that they can't legally remove her since she's considered a tenant. I didn't even know what to tell them as I felt so dumbfounded and shocked I was set up like this. I was silent for a few seconds, and so they tried to explain how the law works to me. But since I just keep looking at them in silence, not believing myself, they just proceed to leave. I am so effing pissed. I'm in California, so I can't even record her confessing to what she's done. If I can do that under an exception, I could easily do it, because apparently she has no problem admitting to it when the cops aren't here. I'm not, however, going to do so if it will lead to more problems. I've also thought about calling 911 or the non-emergency line and telling the operator about the situation, so that the call would be recorded and then make my friend confess about it. Can I do that? Me and the operator are aware of the call being recorded. I think it would still be unlawful. How do I get her out without having to serve her an eviction notice? Isn't that against the law, what she did there? Isn't this fraud? I've thought about trying to prove that she's been living somewhere else before, but I don't know what to do. This is effed up. I'm really sorry about my language, but I'm really feeling so angry, and I'm trying to be as calm as much as I can, while she's in my effing house using my stuff and I can't do crap about it. Update. I texted one of her friends on Instagram who I know she is close to and explained what happened. She gave me her boyfriend's name on Facebook and told me to talk to him to see if he could come over and persuade her to leave. I've reached him and we got on the phone a few minutes ago. He said he can come over after work and see what he can do. Is there anything I should do before he comes here? Do I start recording video? Do I call the cops instead? Do I bring in a third witness? I'm really afraid if this ever turns into domestic violence of some sort if any of them decides to do anything stupid. Keep in mind I'm 19 and both of them are well over my age by a lot. Update 2. Long story short, as soon as her boyfriend came in, she started crying hysterically. I told them that I'm video recording them through my phone, but they seemed uninterested in what I said. She started blaming him for all sorts of stuff. He kept apologizing a lot, and after what seemed like an eternity, she packed her stuff and they were both gone. Now I've written down on a piece of paper all your different advice. I'll file a restraining order against her. I'll also go file a police report and talk to the sheriff, explaining everything that happened. I've documented all I could. I have screenshots of her Instagram account with the pictures tagged to Arizona, plus the video of her and her boyfriend arguing in my house and then packing and leaving together. My mom's main concern right now is getting the protective order ASAP and installing an alarm system in my house. She said she'll be staying with me until we can get a company to install an alarm system on Monday. Thank you guys for suggesting to call my mom. It made me feel safer while she was here. Anyway, I'm so lucky it didn't go worse. I'm just really relieved this whole thing is off my chest now. I'm truly thankful for each one of you. Boss was reluctant to do anything about deadweight coworker because he wasn't making obvious mistakes. We decided to make it obvious. We had this coworker on our team. The best way to describe him is to use a Homer Simpson line. Everyone says they have to work a lot harder when I'm around. Projects given to him usually were not completed correctly, not entirely completed, or not even worked on at all. He violated security protocols, gave out equipment to other departments, and would occasionally disappear for hours. He would always have someone else to blame for his problems, contractors, staff in other departments, but the last straw for the rest of us was when he tried to throw his own team under the bus. We all knew he was skating by because we'd fix his mistakes to keep everything else running. And admittedly, it's hard to get fired from a state job. But after blaming us and having to hear about it, that was the last straw. So the rest of us on the team stopped helping him, and we stopped fixing his mistakes. He wasn't making obvious mistakes before. Now they were obvious. The mistakes were piling up, and fast. We would collaborate with him only down to the bare minimum. He had no reason to blame us if our contributions to a project were completed and his weren't. And then came the kiss of death. He took a week off. With him not around, everything that piled up started getting completed by the rest of us. New tasks were completed on top of that and on time. Even my boss could not ignore the simple fact that the place ran smoother without him around. After he returned, everything started piling back up again. So we came into work a couple weeks ago and it was announced that he had left the organization. Not one person was surprised. The thing that amazes me about this whole thing is that nobody coordinated it. None of us hatched a plan. We all just individually decided that enough was enough. You wanted obvious? You got it. It is impressive how much it takes to get fired for some people. My last 2 jobs both featured a teammate who essentially collected a paycheck and did nothing in return. At least my manager here had the balls to do what was needed. It's also amazing that in the end there's less work to do with him gone, because tasks don't need to be done twice anymore. Anyway friends, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this, and drop a comment down below. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.